Alright guys, welcome back to another video. It is Mystar. So today I want to do a little bit something different because I'm getting over the usual things that I'm doing in my videos. So I thought I'll do something different and show you guys my little moss collection, my little moss stuff that I've gathered, right? And then that'll, be something different for me. And also kind of like prefaces because I'm about to create some shiz. If you saw my other video, you already know I was trying to create some shiz with my whole like little moss terrarium things. They were more like open terrariums, so I don't know if you can consider them like a full-on terrarium. But my little moss terrarium things that I've been making, a lot of those failed. So like little catch-up session for anyone who saw those last videos. A lot of those failed. I might put a photo up in here depending how good my editing skills are today. How good, So when it comes to a lot of those failed ones, they also taught me how to kind of get a good grasp, get a better grasp on how to actually take care of my moss. So that's good. You live and you learn type shit. And I definitely lived a lot. So I definitely learned a lot, And so now I'm about to show you guys my little moss collection in general. It developed into a full-on obsession, guys. It developed into a full-on obsession. So bear with me, because there's a lot of moss. All of these mosses were harvested using sustainable practices, okay? So I made sure not to take too much. I made sure to take them from different areas, to ensure that each part of the moss will be able to thrive for the future generations, Although some of these mosses might be invasive, so I might as well have been better off just fucking extincting them from the whole entire forest floor. You know what I mean? Because, we don't want those invasive plants. The reason why they're invasive is because they destroy habitat for native, indigenous, whatever you want to call it, plants. The natural plants that are here already. Alright, so let's show the moss. I'll take you guys there. Whatcha? Alright guys, so I have to do this little weird thing right now because I don't have good lighting. So you guys can actually see things properly, I'm just going to hold this freaking lamp right over. Alright, so this is one of the mosses that I collected. It is called feather moss, I'm pretty sure. Clearly by the feather formations, you can kind of get an idea of why it's called feather moss. And yeah, all of these are just in like old containers that I used and filled up with about this much soil. And my soil mix, I've already told you guys in my last video when I was talking about me first getting into all these things. And then I just cover them with like a piece of Glad wrap or some shit like that. I'm not liking the Glad wrap though because you do have to replace it quite often. And that's a lot of work and a lot of plastic. So I'm trying to figure out another option. But for the time being, that's going to have to do. And excuse the hideous table underneath here, guys. It is absolutely demolished, mate. Is that freaking a stain or what? I don't even know, man. So yeah. Let me just put the phone down and then I'll... Alright. This is one of the first mosses that I actually found. This freaking thing, I don't think the soil's very good because it keeps moving around. Yeah. And that's not what I really want. So... these are like a star moss, type of star moss or something. I don't know if you can see it properly, but that might help. So this one was actually doing really good and started spreading a lot. And then my cats thought it would be cool to use it as a kitty litter one day, and they started digging in it. So then that kind of failed the spreading of that. And then let's go to this one. Oh, never mind. This was the one that was spreading. My bad. There we go. That's better lighting. The original moss is the deep green. So yeah, this one here, this one in the corner has got almost all new growth. So that's pretty cool. That one I've been growing for months. Like, I don't know how many months, but months. So you can imagine how long moss can take to grow, but also it doesn't help when I have a whole bunch of containers that I need to take outside because I don't have grow lights at the moment. And this one I found in the forest when I went to this reserve. This is like a cushion moss type of thing. Really love this one. Looks similar to the one that I just showed you actually, but I'm pretty sure it's different. I'm like 99% sure it's different. But yeah, having to take it out in the sun is not exactly the best thing that I want to be spending my time doing. So grow lights is a good investment because it saves me moving all of these containers unnecessarily. So this one's the big mama jama. Excuse my freaking fingers in the camera. This one is the big one, which has a whole bunch of different moss because I wanted to stop using as many containers and kind of maximize my usage of space. So we've got lots of different types of moss here. This is like a grassy, feathery moss. This one's like feather moss that I just showed you earlier. This one's another star moss, but it's actually different. It looks like grass. This one is, I think it's like a fire moss or some shit like that in the corner there. And then that one is that cushion moss that I just showed you guys not long ago. That's like a, I don't know what this is called, but I call it beard moss. Okay. So that's the top compartment that I made, and then this is the bottom compartment. So anybody who's looking to even grow other things that might need a similar environment, like wet, humid type environment, this might be a good way for you guys to kind of grow things. See here, I've got a mold, so I need to deal with that and kill that mold because that will just kill all of my moss, and I don't want that to happen. So I'm gonna air this one out, maybe like for a whole day. Just leave this like that so that all this moisture can escape, and then hopefully that'll kill off the mold overgrowth that we have going on here. But yeah, we have this little moss here. I don't even know what that is, but it's cool. Some of them just don't come up no matter how many photos I take to try and search on Google. That one's like a fungus mold type thing. That one is like another grassy moss, or maybe like the bearded moss type, where it looks like a beard. And that one's like the same. I'm pretty sure these two are the same. And then this in the corner, I'm not even 100% sure. That looks like a bearded type of moss too. So yeah, that will just leave there for the time being, guys. And that'll stop this mold from growing, and then hopefully I can figure out some other things that I can use. Like I was thinking of using essential oils, mixing it with some of this, emulsifying it by shaking it up, spraying it on, even though it's more liquid, but because it's essential oils, it should hopefully just kill any bacteria, especially if it's the right essential oil, you know what I mean? So yeah, all of that to say as well, I spent so long collecting all these different mosses because eventually I wanted to grow like a mini terrarium, right? My goal was mini because I only have mini jars at the moment. and I don't really want to spend so much money on terrarium jars. But I ended up getting this as a gift from all the energy work that I've put into this, from all the time and the energy that I put into my little moss obsession. Someone ended up giving me a big fat jar. My auntie gave me this big fat terrarium jar for me to put moss and all kinds of things in there. So, I'm going to be decorating that. And it came with the moss. So that's awesome too. It gives me a little bit of something to work with. And this also gives off the kind of vibe of like kind of grass, like a really dense grass. So I already like the look of it in general. So I might just use a lot of that. I'll probably take out like half of it, fill some of it in with like whatever else I feel like putting in there. Maybe feel like putting a pond in there, whatever the heck. Let your imagination go wild, mate. So yeah, I'm excited as fuck for that. And yeah, stay tuned. You might see some more of these little creations from me. If not, that's cool too. I'm just kind of doing this as like more of a hobby at the moment, as opposed to like something like what I've been doing recently. This thing is less of a hobby and more of a proper enjoyment, if that makes sense at all. So I've just been painting this stick. I've been doing a few different like wands, designing them and stuff like that. It's been really fun. Loving it, mate. Loving it. It's giving witch's wand. So yeah, something like this I spend a lot more time doing, whereas with the terrariums and the moss, it's a lot more like of a side thing for me at the moment. But who knows, life can change. Sometimes a side thing might become a main thing because you might realize how much you freaking love it. Which is not to say that I don't freaking love moss. I'm clearly obsessed. If you can't tell already. The obsession runs deep with this moss baddie, okay? So yeah, that is pretty much it for my little moss collection so far. That's what I've been gathering as I've gone out, and I haven't put so much time and effort into this. So keeping that in mind, and also knowing that like I don't put much resources into it either, I just kind of reuse whatever I have, especially with this thing. Like something else I'd probably be more inclined to spend my money on. Like I have a MIDI keyboard, I spent money on that. But something like this, I just kind of just use whatever I have. And you've seen in my last video that I did, you can see all the different tools that I got, like the cattail heads, cutting those up, just plain old soil, getting heaps of bark because all the bark's been falling down because it's the end of summer, or we've just exited out of summer not long ago. Sorry, it's not the end of summer, it's actually the start of winter. But now that actually it's not even the start of winter, my bad, it's autumn. It is autumn, mate. What am I thinking? I'm like, it's not the start of winter, it's literally the middle of the year, mate. And then I remembered my birthday's in autumn, so why would I think it's the start of winter? Anyways, so because we've just come out of summer not long ago, all the bark from the eucalyptus trees have peeled off, and that gives perfect opportunity for you to be able to soak it up with some water to soften it, and then chuck it in your blender if you're willing to risk your blender, because I don't know how well your blender can handle it. Chuck it in your blender, and then boom, you have a whole bunch of wood chips for your soil, and that will help to retain moisture. That'll help to give aeration to the soil and all that good shit. And all of those things I just find lying about, and then even rocks and stuff like that for drainage as well. But mine have been doing pretty good without drainage, my terrarium things. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, it just goes to show when you're resourceful enough and when you actually, want to do something, then nothing's really going to stop you. Because I know, like, especially me back in the day, I used to be like, oh, I'll do this as soon as I get to this point, or I'll do this as soon as I develop this skill or buy this object. And it's like, if you don't start now, you're not going to be manifesting now. You know what I mean? And that can be fine for some people, but I like to get the ball rolling, regardless of what I have, so that the time for when the time comes that I do have the money to actually invest into something like my moss stuff, not only can I sit there and spend that money more wisely because now I know what to buy, you know what I mean? I know what is beneficial. But on top of that, I have so much more skills in my arsenal now because I've actually taken the time to learn and practice it before I even got anything. It's like that concept of like, when you ask your parents for a guitar or an instrument, right? Like, that's probably a dumb example, but it's like if you've ever had instrument lessons, especially drumming lessons, they give you this little thing at the start of your drumming lessons, and it's like just like a disc, basically, and that disc is what's it called? Just for you to practice your what is it called? Your rhythm, so you can hit the pad on time and hit the disc on time, so you'll know if you're willing to practice and actually keep going if you were to actually get the real thing. Or like when your parents say to you, we're not going to get you a phone, or we're not going to get you a, what's it called, this thing, because we want to know if you're responsible enough to take care of this thing, you know. So they might give you something that's a little bit more low maintenance than the other thing that you want, to give you like a test run to see if you are actually willing to actually invest your time and your energy into that. That's kind of like low key how the universe sees it, or how all possibilities, how life is kind of interacting with us, right? Where life is not going to give us stuff unless we've actually shown that we are actually capable of actually maintaining or handling that responsibility, you know? So if we're constantly making up excuses and reasons to why we can't do something, then life or the universe or all possibilities, whatever you want to chalk it up to, I prefer all possibilities, because even the universe is just a collection of a whole bunch of people, a whole bunch of beings' minds. So that's not even really like a higher power. It's more just like a collection of all of us as being existent. But anyways, so that'll allow you to actually show the universe that you can actually handle all that responsibility, or show all possibilities that you can actually handle said responsibility, so that when all possibilities gives you more responsibility, like it knows that you can actually handle it, and it knows that you can actually, what to do with it. You have the wisdom and the knowledge to be able to carry out whatever needs to be done in that aspect or that area, as opposed to if you were just to get something and you were just to like ruin your chances of maintaining that, because don't nobody want to live a life like that. I know you don't, I know I don't. So why would we think that like any greater power would want us to live a life where we don't do things that we like can handle the responsibility of, just some food for thought there. But yeah, that'll give you that opportunity to be prepared for when the time does come, And like me, like I've been practicing and learning all about moss for freaking ages. Like I didn't even really think it would really lead to anything. I wasn't even thinking about manifestation when I started getting into moss. I was just thinking about the fact that I really enjoy this, and I want to see some moss terrariums around my room as a decoration. I just think it will be so refreshing to have that like taste of nature within my own bedroom, to look at. And then fast forward to now, I've got literally a whole big fat jar full of moss and a perfect for building a terrarium in. So I can decorate that with so many different things. I can have so much fun. I could put 5, 10, 18 different mosses in there if I wanted to, because now I've put in the legwork. I've put in the actual like groundwork, the foundational work, and now the universal possibility comes in the form of a birthday present and says, "Here, you have taken your time and you have built this energy of you being able to take care of this moss, you building and creating your own little terrariums, even though half of them failed. But you gave it a go, so I'm gonna give you more of a go." That's basically like literally how life be speaking to us sometimes, how all possibilities speaks to us sometimes. Like same with bad stuff. It's like you've shown me that you constantly let yourself get overwhelmed by this experience, right? And you don't want to get out of it, because no matter how much like I'm showing you these experiences, for you to get out and for you to rise out, you seem to find always an excuse for you to sink back into it. It's the same, it's vice versa. So then all possibilities, life is going to show you, hey, here, I'm going to give you something that even more overwhelms you, because this is going to show you that you actually are stronger than you actually portray yourself to be. And if not, then you just prove yourself that you aren't stronger. But either way, it's like all possibilities is just trying to help us to do what we want to do. And a lot of people get confused and they think they don't want to do what they're doing. And so then they think that they're making mistakes and blah, blah, blah. But it's like, if I make a mistake, I'll correct that shit as soon as possible. You know what I mean? Unless I don't want to correct that mistake, because in some way, shape, or form, I might be lying to myself and not realizing that that mistake is actually helping me to gain something that I'm actually secretly in a desire for, and therefore I'm blinding myself by the light, by the beauty or the light of what's good and what I know that is good for me, and not being able to see that I'm not actually striving for that, or I'm not actually reaching for that thing that is good for me at the moment. I'm actually striving for the mistake, you know what I mean? Which I'm not striving for the mistake. I'm just saying in context of the person who is struggling with the mistake and doesn't know how to correct it, or finds himself struggling to be able to correct it. So yeah. But again, as well, on top of that, we also have the whole freaking government situation, how they don't exactly, like, the system is not set up for you to win. It's set up for you to fail. It's set up for you with your worst intentions in mind. So when you understand that too, or you overstand that, then you